Showreel by Michael Murray. Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about Showreel by Michael Murray. My name is David Peace, and I just got back from the Blackpool Magic Convention, where one of the talk of the convention was this little thing here, Showreel by Michael Murray. So to begin with, what is it? It is a mentalism piece by MindFX and Michael Murray, all about celebrities and magazines. So to begin with, we're going to talk about if you order Showreel, what do you get? You're at home, you've ordered Showreel by Michael Murray, the post comes, what you get inside the package. Well, first of all, you can actually get it in an envelope. Because of the size of this, you can get an envelope rather than a package, which you can have with postage, costs, and also sometimes with customs and things like that, which is something Michael talks about in the instructions, which is very helpful as why it's all set up like this. So when you get your package, inside you get the magazine sheet here, and what you actually get is you get 3 of these. I have 2 of them still in the packet. One of them is actually in my phone, in the phone wallet bit I carry with me all the time. So you get 3 of them, which is great for repairs because even though these are high quality paper that feel exactly like magazine pages, they will last quite a while. Michael Murray talked about in the instructions that he has hundreds of performances of the same sheet. So you hopefully we'll be able to get the same, and they may be refills in the future. But with this, you get refills as well, which is really handy. You get 2 of them. You can also have one for close-up, and there's also talk about how you can do this on stage. So you can have one in your close-up bag, one in your stage bag, and maybe one as an EDC. So I think that's really nice to have 3 of them, which is really great. You also get a card, which is a link to the instructions, and that teaches you about everything. So if you order Showreel, what you get 3 pieces of the magazine page that you need for the trick and link to the instructions. So now let's go on and talk about what are the instructions like. In the instructions, you get a link to a Vimeo video, and it's Michael Murray talking to camera, similar enough to this, explaining everything you need to know about the trick. At the beginning, it's a lot about the history of the effect, how he came up with it, crediting. There's a lot of crediting going on here, which is really cool to see, and you get quite a lot there to understand the thought process, the evolution of the trick over, which is really good for anyone who's interested in creativity and that whole side of magic. You get a really good insight. Then it goes into the actual basics of the trick, what you need to know, how to perform it, all that stuff. And that is about half an hour into the video. That's the way you get all that sort of information. There's no live performances in there, so you don't really get that, but it's a lot of just talking about how to perform it. So you do feel confident at the end that you know you can go perform this. It's also mentioned in it that this is the sort of thing that you need to pick your audience right for in the instructions. A part of it is that it's a really good trick for movie buffs. So someone isn't really familiar with movies and they don't really know the actors, as they say. Some of the movies on here, the actors involved aren't the leads. They may be like the supporting actor or even a bit further back in the cast. So they might want to have a bit of knowledge about movies. There's definitely at least 1 or 2, pretty much everyone would guess, but that would be a helpful addition to that is covered in instructions as well. Overall, the quality, there's no issues with sound, video, all that's perfect. So you've no issues there. So that's the instructions. There isn't any, at the moment of recording, there isn't any sort of time indexing, so you can skip ahead. But it is said that that will be coming soon. So hopefully that'll be there, because it would be good if you need to just have a refresher of the method to jump in just to that section. So hopefully that'll be added, but it's not there yet. So now let's move on to whether I consider this difficult. Whether or not this is a difficult trick really depends on your sort of skill level as a performer. If you are used to performing mentalism, a lot of those sort of effects, you'd be very comfortable with this. There is no real sleight of hand. There's a bit of memory work to remembering how to do the reveal. It's kind of like the origami reveal that everybody really likes. There's a bit of memory work to make sure you can do that. Not too much, nothing drastic, but just messing around with a bit like that. There's a bit in the mind reading process. There's some stuff there that people who do popist mentalism will be familiar with. It's not really that's restrictive where you're kind of reading people's facial expressions like you're doing a lot of propolis stuff. It's not that. It is very certain, so you don't have to worry about that. And that is also covered in instructions that Michael Murray didn't want it to be that not everyone feel comfortable with it. So it is very hit strong with that, but it's just maybe a comfort level that you might have to be comfortable enough in yourself to have an initial miss but turn it into a success through your presentation, which is covered again in the instructions. So that's the only side where I see people might struggle if they're not familiar with that. But for anybody with even the smallest taste of that style of performing, absolutely no issues here. It's quite quite straightforward to perform. So now let's move on to Steve's questions. For those of you who watch the Steve Reality podcast, and if you don't, you should, my host Steve Spade always asks questions about products that I buy. I tend to buy more magic than he does, so he always asks me the same question. So let's go through them now. The first question he always is, will I do it? Yes, I will do it. I have been doing it. I actually watched the instructions one night at Blackpool late. It was more early morning. But I watched the instructions and I've been carrying around with me since. Performed it for my wife, some family, and I've took it to a couple of gigs as well. So definitely have been performing it. Will continue to perform it. Am I happy with the purchase? Yes, I'm very happy with the purchase with this effect, because what I like about it a lot is you get the 3. When I was buying this, I was concerned that you'd only get the 1, and I was like, how long will it last? You know, we have to be really careful with it. The fact you get 3 with it, I think is really good, especially for the price at the moment. It's about £25, so you get a lot with it. There's a lot of instructions, that sort of thing. Brilliant. So definitely happy with my purchase. Should he get one? I think Steve should get one of these because it is really good for movies, and we both love movies. Steve has worked on a few movies, that sort of stuff. So it is something that he's interested in, and people around him will know that he's interested in him. So having this prop wouldn't look out of place, and we had really strong hits. And is there anything else like it out there? So that's the last one of Steve's questions. And for me, the only thing that's like it out there is actually credited in the instructions, which is gossip from a presentational point of view only. Nothing method-wise or even reveal-wise. But Craig Petty's Gossip is a magazine page that has celebrities in it and is used to force a celebrity. This has some similarities to that, completely different method, completely different presentation, all that sort of stuff. But just from an aesthetic point of view, you can see that. And Michael Murray does talk about that. He did talk to Craig before the release to make sure there was no issues there, which is always really nice to see that all that's handled really well, because it's quite different. A lot of people say it wasn't needed, but it's always nice to see. But that is the only thing for me that is like it out there. So now let's move on to frequently asked questions. The frequently asked question I'm going to talk about now was actually also covered in the instructions, but it's something that I've seen on the Magic Cafe and other places about this effect, and that is, can you repeat it for the same audience? And there are 2 things I'm going to talk about with this. Firstly, for people who are like, is it always going to be the same outcome? That's what people are asking when they ask that question. Can I repeat it for the same audience? Is like, if it's a special deck of cards, is it always going to be the 6 of hearts or whatever? For this, it's not always going to be the same celebrity. So if you're performing it for the same group, you will get different celebrities. Now, that does in some way make it that you can perform it again for people. But on the other hand, the whole presentation of this is that it's meant to be influencing people to always think of the same celebrity. So the fact that they don't always think of the same celebrity might make it that it's not repeatable for the same audience. But it is covered in instructions on how in your first presentation you can talk about it. And then as you show the influence there, you can have them. Now let's do it again, but this time ignore all the suggestion that's built into this page and just think of a celebrity. That way you can repeat it, but it's not really needed. There is also a method covering this on how to perform for 2 people at the same time, which again is really nice. So I hope that answers the question I've seen popping up a bit on whether or not this is able to be performed multiple times. So now let's move on to anything that I didn't like. With every effect, there's things you like and there's things that you don't like, and this is no exception. The first thing for this is the indexing missing from the video that you can't just skip ahead. So, for example, if you want to just skip to how to show the reveal, the origami, that sort of stuff, you want to just get a refresher on that, or get a refresher on the movies and the celebrities and that sort of stuff. Currently, that's not there. In the video, Michael Murray does say that that is going to be added soon, so hopefully that will be there soon. That will get rid of that. The only other concern I have is my wife isn't into movies at all, and when I performed her, she did struggle a little bit. And also, there are examples in there. For example, Tom Hanks is a big one. I use Tom Hanks a lot, so she was trying to avoid that, which a lot of other people wouldn't. But it's even mentioned in the instructions that this is something for a movie buff. So you just got to be very careful with people you select, because the last thing you want is someone sitting there being, oh, no, well, yeah, we go with that movie. No, and there's always, every movie has a celebrity in the list, but if they're not familiar with the cast, it can look like they're not, if that makes sense, if it's not the lead actor for a lot of times. So an example that you could do with this is, if you're not sure whether the person is a movie buff or not, have them the sheet and see if they can do it and do another trick and then come back to them, so you're not sitting there just being like, any minute now, just pick one, please. So that is a bit of a concern when you're performing it, but once you get used to it and you know how to find the person, ask who here's into movies, just go with that and that'll be fine. They're the little things I don't like about it, but overall I really like the product. So now let's move on to my ratings. For those of you who've watched my reviews before, you know that I don't give a rating of 1 to 10 or 0 to 100% A, B, C, D, nothing like that. It is whether or not I would use it. So the lowest rating is it's going in my bottom drawer. Top ratings are I will be performing it. So this, for me, I have in my phone. It's in my little slot. It's in there with overdrafts and a few other things that I just carry around me all the time. So it's part of my EDC, and also it's going to be with my close-up set because I bring my phone to all my close-up gigs. So this is something I can see. I'll probably be performing it more in a casual environment than professionally. I have done it professionally, but I have quite a lot of other tricks I do there. So maybe in the right moment, but I see this more for me as an EDC carry that I'll be performing quite a lot. So that's where it'll be. It'll be in my phone. If you ever see me, ask. It should still be in there unless I've moved it on for some reason. If you have, I'll tell you why. But if you have any questions or concerns about this effect, or if you just want to talk about it, comment down below. No talking about methods, that sort of stuff. We'll delete any comments that discuss that or anything that is unkind as well. We don't want that. Positive vibes only. But like, criticism is okay, but as long as it's done politely. So comment down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. We really appreciate that. And that is my rating and review of Showreel by Michael Murray. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again next time.